One of our Presbyterian churches recently discovered that letters were being sent in their name in support of a particular political candidate. Now, those letters did not originate out of one of our churches. We have no idea who actually sent them, but we do have something that we want to say about the contents of the letter. You can read the letter down below in the description box, but we hope you watch till the end of this video because we have a special invitation for you at the end. Now, some might wonder why a religious group would be speaking about these topics. But we want you to know that we don't think about these topics as being political. We're coming at them from a theological and biblical point of view.
I think it's really important to realize that Christians aren't being partisan when they stand up for women's issues, for people of color, this sort of thing. That certain political powers have made it sound partisan to give justice equally to all people. But if you think about it, that's universal human rights are the least partisan thing of all.
One of the things voiced in the letter is a concern about same-sex marriage.
But we in the Presbyterian Church USA have determined that there is a biblical affirmation for same-sex marriage.
Another concern voiced in the letter is immigration.
It attempts to paint all immigrants with the broad brush of criminality. I have members of my church who are immigrants, who are elders, who are leaders in my congregation. And our church deeply cares for the immigrant community around us.
There's a piece in the letter about saying Happy Holidays versus Merry Christmas.
As Presbyterians, we are not offended when someone wishes us Happy Holidays because they are wishing us good cheer, something we all could use a little more of. We ought not expect them to wish us a Merry Christmas because not everyone claims Jesus as their Lord and Savior. Spreading the gospel by coercion has never done anyone good. Instead, we ought to live into Christ's call to welcome the stranger and to love our neighbor.
The letter touches on transgender issues.
Whether you're a woman or a man or gender nonconforming, you are welcomed and wanted here.
We believe that everyone has the right to choose how they are going to live and how they will vote.
And that no other person has the right or the authority to condemn us. It is only Christ who is our judge, and only Christ who can condemn us, and Christ has chosen instead to save us, and by us I mean all of us.
The letter expresses a concern about spiritual warfare and about doing what is right.
Jesus does not ask, what doctrines do you believe? Were you baptized the right way? He just gives, he's very simple. Have you cared for people? That is what I am looking for. When we care for people, we follow the example of Jesus Christ.
Now, we do want to talk about issues that are important to us, but we don't condone this kind of letter in support of a particular candidate, no matter who that candidate is.
The letter in and of itself takes the Lord's name in vain in ways that heretofore I almost couldn't imagine, but in the climate that we're in, I can understand the genesis of it, and I think the genesis of it is not the gospel.
We believe that God is acting in the world, and we do not need to live in an atmosphere of fear.
If our churches are being used as a place to foment fear, or if the names of churches are associated with fear-based motivation, that's something that ruins the whole community of faith and the reputation of the community of faith. We know that people feel the most alive when they're not threatened, when they're not placed in positions of fear. And the ideas of this letter seem to imply that we have to be afraid, and that God's calling us to be afraid, and that we have to protect something in our culture to be truly Christian. God comes first. God's grace comes first. In this divided time, we need to find ways to reach across the aisle between Republicans and Democrats and discover what the good news means again in our congregations.
We want to invite you to a special vigil on the night before the election at 7 p.m. You can find a vigil at any of the participating locations, and there's links to the websites down below. Now, we can't address everything that we want to address in a brief video like this one, but we do hope that this will spark conversation amongst your households and your churches, and we would love to be in conversation with you too.